What's up, everybody? We're back again with another Cardwell special. Sorry, I had to do my best impression. We've got, as I've implied, we got a game with Cardwell against the UK's own Jonathan Yates. I saw you just looked up that Jonathan made 4th at the last regional.
No, I was looking at UK Nationals.
Okay.
The EU/UK Nationals, Jonathan Yates got 4th place with Bert Holt Hoover Living Weapon, if you remember that metagame.
Boy, howdy. Yeah, that was a different time. But this time we've got Cardwell playing Mikasa. A little bit different from the last two or the last one that we saw on stream. Yes, last round, but also a Godzilla who I don't think we've had on stream yet. And it's going to be interesting to see how Godzilla has adapted to the loss of Titancliff.
Yeah, Titancliff being the big missing number. Jonathan also got 2nd place at an EU regional back in 2024 playing Godzilla. We had the Godzilla finals, Greg Moss versus Jonathan Yates. And in that list, he played 3 Titancliff, right? And it was a City Rampage list, which at the time, not all the Godzillas were fully invested in, but it seems like City Rampage is basically here to stay. If you're trying to play high value aggro, City Rampage is the path of least resistance, Bromley. It's +2 to all your checks. It's bonus stats where you need it, and it doesn't even have to stick around in the card pool, which that's something TamCardwell is probably going to be really familiar with, as these Mikasa decks are really interested in keeping that card pool fresh and clean.
Yeah, this is a game where 2 players are going to just be slamming orange cards into the card pool and asking questions of the opponent. And there's not a whole lot that either deck can do about the opponent, apart from block, right? It's just like just block. In the sideboard for Godzilla, there are a couple of runaways, right? There is an unyielding destruction as well. And that's the kicker here, is the D build could be a very big deal for someone like Mikasa, who wants a large board to be able to support the giant swing turn where they, draw a billion cards and clear a billion cards from their card pool. So I could see Godzilla on the next turn if Tam does it, builds out again. I could see Godzilla hitting the button, because it's not like this board is doing anything, especially crazy.
Yeah, we do see one of the best lead-off attacks, though, for pretty much any deck. This card is hovered around as a staple the whole time. Dual Needle Lunge. We're going to pay 3 life. After this attack resolves, we get to add it to our momentum. And TamCardwell was revealing a +3 block mod, it looked like, during that attack. So Mikasa, Hizuru's Hope, you're going to reveal a weapon card. Your attacks are going to get damage based on the block modifier. We see that again, another +3 and +3 damage to all your moves. That's pretty Godzilla shaped. It's going to be now down to how many times can we clear our card pool. Every time we destroy a foundation, we're going to draw 2 cards. We're going to fuel all of this hyper aggression early here on turn 2 if we want to destroy our whole stage. Like you said, though, if Godzilla gets kind of worried about the board state, toasting everything can be pretty detrimental to Mikasa, because having the ability to trade the stage for hand size is really what makes this character sort of work. And now we got Luna Tejaris coming in here. We had 2 cards leave our card pool, so this was actually a 4 difficulty 7 damage throw that is now going to get +3 more tacked onto it.
And so we see with a momentum, okay, Godzilla is going to be blocking with the Blue Flame Torment, functionally acting as an on a stick, right? A breaker 2, right? Without a dark ward available, we could at any point say, "Hey, I'd like to do something to that." Oh, no response there. Just going to be going for stun 1. It's so crazy how ignorantly shaped focus gravity beam is, by the way.
Speaking of, now that we've made the mistake of using the 2 cards in our hand to block with, this powerful 3 attack that is, I think, 1 speed, is now going to register 10 damage on the board. being sent through here.
No, I think there was a block actually.
Oh, sorry, it was a partial. There was a partial. He had
But
one
that's
more
okay. We're
card.
definitely going to be getting 10 damage off on this Lunataris. That was a 3 difficulty, by the way.
Now we're out of cards. Yeah, Godzilla was using some resources. We flipped a finally free to get a momentum. I think we flipped a fearsome to draw another card to be able to try and play some defense here, but we don't have the momentum anymore for the -2 to the check, it looks like.
Okay, and here we got to ask, do we have oh yeah, it's another Lunataris. Okay, no problem. Catch.
We drew all the Lunataris, all the moon sisters we needed. That was turn 2, wasn't it?
That was turn 2.
Godzilla getting turn 2. It feels karmic. It feels it feels maybe ironic. But this is, man, this is the most recent ban list. You know, one of the things it sought to address was really aggressive turn 2 style plays, and I don't know if that's strictly the power of Mikasa or the power of any of these individual cards, or if that's strictly play style, right? But to speak to the play style, Godzilla blocked 3 times that turn, but
Still
they
died.
were you know, for the most part, they had to be partial blocks because of either the throw keyword or the zone on the gravity beam. So pretty unfortunate stuff for Jonathan there, but you know, there's only so much you can ask from your 6 hand size 34 health sponge.
Yeah, especially after blocking 3 times. Yeah, this is the second time that we've seen Mikasa turn 2, and the third time that the game has ended before before the opponent saw turn 3. So, um, yeah, if you're doing nothing, she definitely will run you over the way that guys like Tam have the deck built. Right, they're just leaning forward and playing answers to things, not very interested in engaging defensively. Um, but what would you do, Sam, if you were preparing for a format that had a lot of Mikasa in it?
Oh, if the format had a lot of Mikasa in it, I think I would look like negating attacks entirely. 5 hand sized characters really need to, you know, they need to activate their card draw, like they need to get that really important enhance going. Mikasa really lives and dies by being able to enter multiple enhance steps throughout the turn and, you know, turn that mathematical equation of destroy a foundation into draw 2 cards
Mhm.
as like a lifeline. Like that's just how the deck plays. And so I think if you flash attacks, if you know you invest in like heavy defense, you know, cape of no returns, maybe not,
Disarming
maybe,
glance.
yeah, cape might not be it because you have to deny the draw to enhance entirely.
And they're always
um
gonna go for the draw 2 first.
yeah, but things like Genkai's guidance, things like disarming glance would be good too. Yeah, I think that was a good one against stuff like Pony. You know, just something where the Mikasa draws one attack, and if they draw one attack and they know that they can't resolve any abilities,
They'll just
you
mill.
have effectively skipped their turn.
Yep. Yep. I agree. And actually, we did see a situation last round where the Mirko had a cape of no return, and Mikasa had played an attack and did not first enhance draw two, and then they didn't immediately press the button that I would have pressed in that situation, which was cape it, right?
Right.
Um, and so that's the thing is you gotta. I remember in the first My Hero set, when before Kirishima one was errata, that the only thing I could think of to like stop the character was like just Todoroki a hardened jab enhance, right? Like
Yeah.
do something to like put one like they got their little Rube Goldberg machine going, and then he's just like, I'll put a stick in your spokes, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not going to stop you forever, right? But just enough to get me like my turn and like get to the point of the game where, this massive advantage that you've accrued doesn't really matter anymore, you know? And so something like this vast hybrid Chimera Kraken turning off the weapon clash, meaning that defensively, so Mikasa can't just sit there and say, oh, well, I built 5 turn 1 and then I weapon clash for my 7th foundation and now I'm going to go ape on you. So this is the type of gameplay that's going to make it so that you can get the turns you need to beat the crap out of that character, you know?
Yeah, no, I love it. I love stuff like Vast Hybrid, and look at this. This is absolutely perfect here. We've got the Vast Hybrid. The bonus is going to come in. The Desperate Struggle will immediately respond because, hey, why not? We're not going to get to use this card most likely, anyways. So we're going to save ourselves 3 health by resetting the attack to its printed damage. We have 2 committed in Frozen Foundations, which not the biggest deal for Mikasa because,
I love
we've
this.
seen this deck destroy ready foundations.
Uh, I think this is so good, man. Because
However,
yeah, so Heat Ray is on board, and it's a 6 difficulty attack. That does what, Sam?
When it deals damage, you get to target flip 2 rival foundations. So we've got all the stage control here. On top of that, it's also going to get a little bit of bonus damage based on the number of 5
Mhm.
difficulty cards in your discard pile.
Yeah, I think in this
Um,
situation it got 1 more damage, so it's hitting for 10.
yeah, it's a little early for the damage bonus. The hype thing about this attack is it's really fast.
Mhm.
Printed 7 speed for your 6 diff seems pretty solid. And then that on hit trigger. So we got pretty much everything we wanted. We got a speed pump, we got momentum, we got
Yeah,
rival
it's
foundation denial.
there's 2 ways this game can go from here, right? Mikasa is gonna dig now for foundations and maybe attacks if we can keep going, and this is a great
Oh,
spot to use your
oh,
seal. Wow, what a heads up play there. But the thing is, Godzilla when it passes back to him, and I assume it will pass back because now we're on +1 difficulty for turn, right? There's no way to clear this card from the card pool. Um, if you draw gas, you go for it because your opponent's on low resources. And if you do not draw the gas, you nuke the board because Tam will have to rebuild that board before going in again.
right.
And because they're at 19 health, you are, even though you're going second, right, quote unquote, you are in a much better position to do something defensively. And so I really like this. I like this a lot. I think this is the right response. We've been controlling Mikasa's board, controlling their capacity to go deep on a turn, and now that they built out, you know, it's our game to decide, hey, are we going to force Mikasa to rebuild before they can go in again, or did I draw the gas to be able to overwhelm the kind of middling defense that they have already?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Godzilla being able to do the board wipe is such a primo choice in this because if Mikasa gets gunked up with attacks in hand mid game, not only is that huge because again we've talked so much about like the transmutation of foundations and stage into card draw, um, but Mikasa is oftentimes similar to Pony. When you've got a bunch of card pull clog, you get baited into riskier plays, right? If everything goes well, you don't need foundations to pass checks. And I think that Tam could fall victim to that, especially being up a game. You can fall into the idea that things are just going to go well for me, things like that. And so taking that additional risk when you've got no foundations can be really, really scary. But I think once you're at a point where Mikasa has no foundations, you're just kind of in a win-win situation. As
Mhm.
long as you built something on your turn, right? As long as you have some gameplay next turn. But looks like we're gonna keep on with the aggression. This is a great one to get stuff started with. This is kind of a staple of Godzilla decks. It's not always here. It's not always a staple, but Blue Flame Eruption, or is it Immolation? I always get these 2 mixed up. Darn it,
This
I
one
almost said it.
is Blue Flame Torment.
Torment. See, I get all the Blue Flame attacks mixed up. Blue Flame Torment has been here for a long time in Godzilla decks, though, because it has the opportunity to buff your next check. It has the ability to hack the rival check. And what was really important at one point for Godzilla decks, it's a low attack.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a few more of those now, right? But this is a walk the dog, smashing the stomp deck. But yeah, it lets you go even further on that
The
low
low
zone.
spam.
Yeah. It's interesting to me that the Godzilla deck is still continuing to run the 4 copies of Finally Free. This looks like a list that was just like, well, Titan Cliff's gone, but everything else is pretty much the same. Then they just bumped up the copies of Smashing Stomp and Torment. Um,
Yeah.
uh, because all of the 6 checks that were in the deck beforehand are still there, right? The pass through walls is just obviously very good against equipment heist decks. Here's a walk the dog being played on a
Yeah.
8. Holy moly!
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think a lot of the six checks were cards that the chaos decks, especially Godzilla, were gonna play anyways.
right.
I actually really dig strategic meeting over finally free without Titan Cliff in the deck. If
Okay,
only because strategic meeting can be done at form speed and it might draw you an attack. And you
right.
might prefer an attack over a momentum some of the time, you know, and a lot
Mm,
of the Godzilla attacks have EX, kick, fury, slam, you know, like 4 keywords anyways. So
right.
I'm a little surprised we didn't see, you know, a shift back to strategic meeting as our 3 diff, but it's hard to argue with a 6 check plus 1 mid block.
Oh, it's gonna all end with a heat ray on an 8 again. Wow. Yeah, there we go. Going to game 3. Wow.
Yeah, it's just that easy for these decks to put up 30 plus damage. I mean, it wasn't a turn 2. We didn't do it all in one big string, but all of those attacks were swinging for like a third of Mikasa's health, and we just were not equipped to play the defense. We were not equipped to block all of these attacks, unfortunately. Um, but we're getting to game 3. It's been about 15 minutes in the round. This is
Yeah.
good. This is a good wholesome slap fest. I know we ended up with Mikasa kind of back to back on stream, but
Mhm.
this was the highest rated table, the highest numbered table of X1s. So I figured tables higher than this would probably be IDing. You know, we've got Jonathan here who's done absolutely excellent in so many UK and EU events in the past, you know, and I thought it was just going to be a solid match to get a pulse for where we're at in the tournament, right? We've got two players who I think both have a really good shot of making top cut, but they're both definitely fighting to guarantee that spot because whoever wins here probably
We'll end up
can do the old
IDing.
X1 ID into top cuts after this. And
Right.
whoever loses will almost certainly have to win if
Have to play it
X2
out.
even has a chance.
Yeah, like I think anybody at home who's who's like, oh, I just saw Mikasa. Very
Yeah.
different game, very different players, you know. And I know that that first game went the way that Mikasa sometimes goes, but I think that second game made it worth, regardless of who was on the board. But here
Yeah.
we're starting with finally free into finally free. Oh man,
Oh boy.
did he check a 3? That looked like a Titan gauntlets. Oh, okay. Only gonna pick a 3 build here. Okay, well, let's see
Yeah.
if Tam can replicate the turn 2 from game 1, or if we're gonna go a little bit deeper into this game. Opening with anchor toss, it looks like. My screen's a little blurry, but
Yeah, mine
um,
too. Mine too.
you know, keep in mind that we're not there right now, right? This is streaming over from across the ocean to us.
Yeah.
And don't
So
worry, people at home. Mhm.
Anchor Toss is like the card that I don't want to play, but I have to, right?
I
In
hate that card.
Mikasa. Like,
I don't play it.
no, you don't play it?
I don't play
Giving
it.
up that free value?
No, it's not. So the
That
thing is,
free 99?
yeah, it's just bait to me a lot of the time because Dark Ward is all over the format.
True. That's what I'm saying is like I feel like so I was gonna mention it earlier, right? When it comes to the math of using a card like Filled with Doubt, you want to use Filled with Doubt on what is otherwise the least impressive attack stat wise that has the most impressive text. And the only two attacks that really fit that mold are the ones that definitely, you know, fit it the best in this deck are Dual Needle Lunge and Anchor Toss. But Dual Needle Lunge still has a fairly respectable 3 high for 5 body, whereas Anchor Toss is only 2 damage. And while Mikasa can still pump it, when you're dealing with attacks, you want to use as few cards as possible to quote unquote, you know, defend from the attack.
Mhm.
And Filled with Doubt feels like a very clean answer, even if you don't block Anchor Toss. And when it gets stuck in your card pool, you know, I mean, Dark Ward fits that too. Dark Ward also feels like it's a very clean answer that just kind of jams it in your card pool for very, very low value. So I'm kind of with you in a world where I believe my rival is going to interact with me meaningfully on attacks, on many attacks. Anchor Toss is one I don't want to be playing.
Yeah, I could see a situation where maybe I could be sideboarding it against someone like a Godzilla, you know? Or you could go the opposite route, right? You say, "Hey, my game one plan is to assume my opponent's doing nothing to stop me, and I'll just run over them with dual needles and the anchor
Right.
tosses."
I
And
would I would cite it for like a Rodan that is not playing a lot of filled with that. If they're playing 1 or 0,
right,
like if they're playing stuff like Genkai's, I'm cool for you to Genkai's an anchor toss, right? I'm
100%,
cool
yeah.
for it to be one of the many blocks you play this turn. So yeah, I think it being a sideboard piece for defensive decks that don't get to just seal things. Like for example, the Fire Hanji list, the Hanji ones of the world, they get to play 4 copies of Filled Without because they're like never blocking.
Right.
They're just reduced damage from stage. So that one card from hand functions, as a clean answer because the damage is cleaned up by the DR and stage. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
seeing
obviously it's very effective, right? I also don't play dual needle lunge in my lists.
oh, so you got one of them weird Mikasa lists.
Well, I mean, I am definitely the person who got people to
You got one
play.
of them artisan bespoke Mikasa decks.
Man, I don't know about all that. I'm not playing at this event, and I'm not the one who's 5-1 or 4-1.
When you
But
take your Mikasa deck out, is the deck box like a little lace doily that like has a like a light shining through it?
no, no.
Do you play music as the deck like hovers out with like steam and like
I prefer like
pressurized gas?
I prefer like an embroidered, like old lady a vibe, you know.
Yeah, doilies. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. We weren't talking about the
Like
same
a
thing. Then.
lace doily.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that seems to match the vibe for sure.
Yeah, dude. That is the most granny core thing I can think of.
So for me, it was that I wanted to play sweeping daggers. Obviously, that's gone. I wanted,
Comedy attack.
yeah. I wanted to play sweeping daggers. I wanted to play, instead of anchor toss, I found myself playing, oh hell, it was an air attack. It's like a 5 mid 4 that cleared the card pool. If the opponent didn't block it.
It sounds like sweeping daggers, but you copied dual needle.
It,
No,
it does feel like that. No, it was oh hell, I gotta go find it. Air attuned.
I think I know which one. There's a or there's a 4 low 4 where you have to spend momentum.
No, Race to the Rescue from set 1 of Attack on Titan.
You are talking about the 5 diff. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a 4 difficulty 5 mid 4 that says after it deals
Oh, wait.
damage, you clear it.
Oh, there is actually so many of these. No, you're right. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I know the lists in like Louisville, Atlanta, we're playing propelled kick where you have to spend a momentum, but dual needle is supposed to give you the momentum. And I've seen other people play Levi's overhead, which is like after it deals, you clear one other. So there is like a lot of these attacks going around.
I had
On
to
the flip
reset. I'm sorry.
No, you're
There's
good. On the flip side here, we've got Godzilla with an entirely face down stage now. I blinked and everything got flipped.
yeah, we got sort of sidetracked into the realm of other things you could do with Mikasa, and now
Yeah.
Godzilla has flipped his entire board.
Yeah, Godzilla has hit the table flip button. Potentially about to hit the table reset button here. I can't quite count. I think it's 9 foundations in play. I think Godzilla only has 4. So he's got the airship.
I think it's 5 actually. I think there's 2 face downs where you might be seeing 1. I'm seeing,
Maybe.
but he's just gonna build. Wow.
Yeah, not pressing the nuclear option yet, but definitely primed to do so next turn. Oh, and yeah, Tam
Even if
actually
he
had.
had 4, you still had 6 on Mikasa's side.
Yeah, I was gonna say Tam actually had 6. We had one tucked away over there too. So
Mm.
the Godzilla once per game is a pretty difficult decision for a lot of players to make. It's not correct to rip it off all the time. We saw Calvin Tahan win versus Deku.
Here it is.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is the risk playing into the Mikasa is that if you're relying on those actions, it plays 4 Koenmas with a straight face, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I definitely talked I talked the Rodan into using their seal on one of my moves because I wanted to get my Koenma's task off um, in Jacksonville earlier this year. So yeah, but sorry, you were saying about Calvin Tahan not using his button.
Yeah, Calvin Tahan was able to overcome a deck that you would assume the once per game is a huge part of the matchup. And sometimes it's the discretion that you can that is more important, right? Sometimes it's the threat that your
Yeah.
rival has to rebuild from the once per game that causes them to make bad decisions potentially, you know. And I think Calvin was able to leverage just the option to wipe the board really, really well to his regional win. But we do see active defense from Godzilla here coming out blocking, you know, blocking the gravity beams, blocking where we can, spending momentum to help us
Mhm.
block to try and stay alive. But here comes a big throw that even if you block it, we're going to take at least 5 damage. Excuse me, 5 damage from, even
Yeah.
though we see Godzilla spending the momentum for the bonus to the check.
So this is the thing is if you're going to be playing all these Lunatehers, you run the risk of drawing a bunch of them with no other attacks, right? So
Hmm.
we had to play this on a 5 raw, right? It wasn't the situation where we in one where we had 3 difficulty
Yeah.
Lunaterraces, right? So yeah, and this is it. We only have the timely counterattack in hand, right? And so that's sometimes you draw dead when you have a list like this. If you have a bunch of these Lunate Harrises that need other input before doing anything. But well, we got a new lease on life for Godzilla. Didn't take too much damage that turn. I don't think we took 5. Yeah, from the Tejaras.
Um, yeah, I believe so. We might have had two partials.
I
The
know we full blocked
The gravity
the
was a full
focus
block.
gravity beam.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a short-lived promotion turn. This is one of the interesting things about Godzilla, right? Is we now have a turn where we're a seven-hander. If we wanted to do the once per game,
You
we
could
would
do it with
theoretically have one extra card to build from our hand, making it a better turn to do so. But we've got
nope.
determined advance here on a 6. Checks a 3, but the fact that the blitz should give us a momentum to utilize could be all that we need to pass our checks this turn. Our only face up foundation is inspiring song.
Not a single copy of City Rampage has been resolved for its form this match.
True. Yeah. I mean, granted, first couple games were pretty quick, but we are getting
Definitely, yeah.
into the turn 3, turn 4s of the world. Oh, milling some really good checks there. So not exactly what you want to see when you're trying to get a bonus to your check, but there's no reason to assume we're gonna check bad just because we milled 3 good checks off the top.
Yeah. I mean, that's 3 of the 20 or so cards probably left in deck. Oh, actually, it's pretty thin. But don't think about that. It's just as likely to be whatever to be there as it was before. We're gonna see a block on a 9, okay, and committing
Oof.
fully to get this breaker 3. I mean, if we're here, you have to go for it. It's just where you're at. We're holding
Yeah.
Dark Ward and a Desperate Struggle. I wonder what the Dark Ward is for. What response could we be worried about from Godzilla? In the Godzilla deck, offensively, there's Smashing Stomp, Blue Flame Torment, and Heat Ray.
Oof.
But like, I feel like 2 Desperate Struggles would do better for you because can you respond to it receiving the damage bonus from Godzilla?
No, well, so the Dark Ward, no, because Godzilla is a static.
No. I
The
meant the Desperate Struggle.
the Desperate Struggle, yes. The Desperate Struggle,
Okay,
as we've seen before and we're seeing again now.
there it is.
Basically, so Dark Ward is potentially cancel a card draw
Right.
because of Smashing Stomp.
Right.
Desperate Struggle is effectively going to be -3 damage almost always. However, Desperate Struggle is also minus damage on potential powerful enhances, but Godzilla is choosing to use it for check bonuses because we landed the breaker the breaker 3 block into our rival having to play a walk the dog on a huge difficulty. So, well, not huge, but check poorly.
Yeah,
Um,
so we're going for Blue Flame Torment now that Tam is in a situation where he's unlikely to be able to make the checks. There it is. Yeah, because you know that Determined Advance is in hand. Um, yeah, this is a scary, scary situation. We're gonna get the +1 to the check. No +2 available from Godzilla, so this is gonna be on +1 difficulty. I don't know if we're gonna be able to play any more moves. I think
yeah, this we know there's a determined in hand. So if we have
check at
+2
6.
to our check, we can play determined, check a 5, commit Zilla, and that's worth 9.
But it's
But I believe
not enough.
yeah, I believe we have to deal 13.
Yeah, they're gonna be going for the build. I wonder if it was the right decision to blow it up there.
So given I understand where we're at. So given the cards in hand that we saw from Jonathan, not expecting the breaker 3 block, I understand why we didn't send the board away.
Hmm.
That being said, after the breaker 3 block, I was very surprised that we risked it with the walk the dog, and then we had to spend the momentum. So if we could have spent the momentum for the powerful, I think we get much closer. I don't know if we quite get there. I think we're
Yeah,
still like 2
I
points off.
so if that's the
Um,
case, I think that personally, right? You saw Mikasa reveal that timely counterattack all last
yes,
turn, right?
yes,
So it was there. Don't open with
that's
the
true.
mid.
Actually,
Don't
you're
open with
right.
the mid attack. Just don't open with the mid attack. You had a low in hand. You
You're
had
right.
another low, and so we could have gone Blue Flame Torment, and made Tam uncomfortable, right? Because you don't want to tap a bunch to get there, and then follow up with the Walk the Dog or Determined Advance. I think that term could have gone differently.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of Godzilla players who have like bad experiences with the once per game because I know at least a year ago, it used to be that people would say the once per game is a trap. They would say the once per game is strictly like how you lose games, which I don't know. It blows my mind. I've always felt like it's just strictly a positive for the character. Like to have the option has just always been like strictly a plus, right? But there was definitely a time where people viewed once per game as, something that they never needed to win. They never won when they did it. And they started to believe that it was just a trap to do so. And maybe that's where Jonathan's at. I'm not sure. I don't know his personal opinions on Godzilla once per games, but that definitely was a mentality that people had. So maybe he's just in the camp that the once per game isn't real. But that's I don't know, especially after we've gone through formats with decks like Deku and Ghidorah and Rodan all winning regionals this year. I feel like
Yeah.
the once per game is super relevant.
And we're seeing it again here. This is my problem with Luna Tejaris. If you draw it and no other attacks for the turn, you're slinging the 6 difficulty. And that's the worst thing in the world if you're Mikasa. You do not want to be checking the 6 difficulty that can't discard itself from the card pool without any other input.
Yeah, but I
Mhm.
think that this one is actually really nice here because every time Godzilla wants to block it and take 5 less damage,
He's gonna be
he has
losing
to give up
momentum.
momentum.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess he just takes it, goes down to 9. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and he
certainly
wants
not bad, right? But I'm just saying in most situations,
yeah.
playing 6 stiff into 6 stiff is so risky for the character who wants to play 6 or 7 attacks in a turn.
Yeah, and we're seeing a pretty perfect example here is dual needle is not something you ever want to play on a 6 if you can help it. We are going to destroy the foundation we committed to pass it to draw 2 cards, and you have to assume we're going to be paying the 3 life to send this baby into momentum. There we go, down to 11. Health totals are really close. Things are getting tense. The hand, we're revealing weapons now for bonus damage.
Yeah, Mondo Gecko also putting 3 speed on both this and the Tejaras, so they're very uncomfortable. We have EX available for us as well. This one can't kill, but putting your opponent to 1 is a very scary prospect. Yeah, gonna be using the EX. This is a 10 speed for 8. Godzilla gonna be adding 2 to their check.
Yeah, I believe we stacked it up. There might be it's hard to see the die for us.
Yeah,
It's a
there's
little
four. There's
fuzzy.
four. Yeah, we've
But I
used both
believe
of
we
them.
have +4 to the check. And a +1 mid, it checks a
Wow, checks
6.
at 10. Needed
We
that. Wow.
we checked the 10, but we're still gonna take 4 damage here, go down to 5. So basically any partial move, any Luna to Harris is gonna do it here with
Yeah.
bonus Mikasa damage. And
Here's
we see
Koenma's with one card left in the deck means you're gonna grab whatever you want.
that's absolutely
Wow.
amazing. We're gonna get the optimal Koenma's task on stream. Now, I'll be honest, Bromley.
Mhm.
I've done the Koenma's task on stream, but I only had one card in my hand or one card in my deck
In the
after the deck. So I was doing it just because I could.
'Cause
This is
you
actually going to be an optimal search. Granted, provided Tam remembers what's in his deck, but with access, to all the public knowledge in a fully
well,
shuffled
here
deck.
you would just name Koenma's.
Well, true, that's true. You name Koenma's for the first one unless we cycle it here.
Yeah.
That's actually true. We do you do name Koenma's for the first one because you can, but see, actually, I don't know because you can't do the second Koenma's. You don't have one in discard anymore.
Oh, you're so correct. Yeah, I guess you can't do it there. You have to name. Well, you know what you've removed. So we're likely going to be getting something like, the
gravity
yeah, the
beam.
focus gravity beam. This is the best situations. You get
Yeah,
two or three of these. Yeah, this game's over.
the card that leaves the card pool the easiest with the lowest difficulty that we have the most of in our deck. Those are
Yeah,
the
yeah.
3 boxes we checked. I'm very curious what he named for his opponent. I hope to see.
He's just not going through it.
He's just not okay. Oh well, all right.
Yeah, he's saying I've got this. I think that's you gotta have some audacity to do that. I feel like you gotta
That's half
respect your
the fun
opponent.
of the card.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what you
It's
get to do.
most
You
of the
get
fun
to
of the
name
card there.
the card in their deck.
Yeah.
I'm here
Wow.
for the I'm here for the pageantry.
Wow. Can you imagine grabbing 3 focus gravity beams and then slamming an anchor toss for fun?
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, what happened to the audacity? That is some audacity.
That is incredibly audacious. I will
That
say.
is some audacity. But TamCardwell is not here to prance around and have fun. He is here to win an EU
He's prancing.
regional.
He's prancing around for sure. He is doing a prance.
Yeah,
And there it is.
the plus one, he had
Look at all my
these.
moves. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, and the other Gwenmas. Okay, all right. That's some prancing. That's quite a bit of prancing.
While the round going over to TamCardwell playing Mikasa. Another Mikasa victory over a big spooky 6-hander.
Yeah, those first 2 games, I mean, it looked like we were in for a real short endeavor into this round here, but we got a really nice, meaty back and forth game 3, and
Yep.
it's going to leave us with some questions, right? It's I always love a game that leaves us with a little bit of debate because there's absolutely a world where, Jonathan just checks well. Everything goes his way. He fights through the interaction. He doesn't need the board wipe, and Tam was very, very close to simply checking poorly on a block, and seeing a lot more damage go through and opening the floodgates. I mean, I think he could have tapped out regardless of what he checked for the breaker block. But imagine if we failed that block, and everything completely tilts the opposite direction. So great plays by both players, very close nail biter in the end, but it's hard to argue with form. Search my deck for whatever I want.
Oh my god, yeah. Seeing Koenma's resolved in 2025 brings a smile to my face, Sam. That card is so fun. And seeing it done with one card left, as the last card play to get the really crazy, search through my entire deck to get whatever the heck I want is a great way to end the third game. And it is a bummer, as a Godzilla to not be able to play your City Rampage over the course of an entire match.
Yeah.
That does stuck, but that's okay. I'm sure he's had 5 other rounds where he probably did resolve those City Rampages. We just didn't see it on stream.
I just hope he got as much use as he wanted out of his stage, because boy, was it face down permanently, like 24/7. Those cards were getting built, they were getting flipped, they were getting used.
Well, I mean, between Finally Free, Inspiring Song, short-lived promotion, Fearless Transformation, Horrifying, really, they're all turning over, man. A Master's Pride, it's every card is flipping over apart from like Monster Aggression, right? And so, it's just the nature of the way that that deck was built. I don't think Tam was sitting there, I don't think he was resolving his own heat ray and saying flip two, I don't think that was happening. It was just that's the
You know
way
what?
that the
I
deck
do
was
want
built.
you to flip my two best foundations. Go for it, pal.
Go for it, buddy.
All
Yeah,
right.
no sweeping there. That was cool. All right, well, Sam, I think this is my last round for the day, but you've got one more with David,
We got
and
one more.
yeah, one more round.
We got one more. We're gonna try to get overhaul. I'll try to get overhaul. I see the overhaul request. I
Yeah,
wanted to get overhaul early. It was hovering in like the wrong spot of the bracket, but I think there's one that's like X1, so we'll
it's Barlow.
probably force him to play.
It's
If
Barlow.
Barlow tries to ID, we'll beat him up. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
We'll
I
force him to
will.
play for our
Yeah,
amusement.
I'll overnight a fist to
Yeah,
punch him in the face.
exactly. But he's got to win this round. They haven't reported yet, so we're gonna take a break. We're gonna find out what we can get you for the seventh and final round, and then that's gonna be it for Swiss for day one of the EU regional. So only one more round of action. Don't go anywhere. You're not gonna want to miss it.